Something very strange is happening, ladies and gentlemen. And it's not just happening in the US or the UK or Canada or wherever. It's actually happening worldwide, global, and it's happening on a massive scale. What am I talking about here? And let's see if you've noticed this as well. I'm talking about all of these outages at the moment. So in fact, let me show you a couple on the shared screen here, and then we'll continue talking. So if we look at last week, let's go back 2 weeks actually, let's give some context. 2 weeks ago, we had these massive outages by the big tech platforms. It happened with all the social media platforms first. And some people thought it was a little bit strange, a little bit unusual, but it didn't really gain mass attention. Then what did we have? Just a few days later, we had a second outage. This time it wasn't the Google-based ones, it was the Meta-based ones, Facebook and Instagram. We then had more social platforms down. We then had Down Detector, which is a website, downdetector.com, that was pulling up all of these different social media platforms. And then it started pulling up the communication companies. Why is this a little bit unusual? And I'm going to tell you what's happened now. It's moved from, and this is where it gets a bit crazy, so bear with me here. We've gone from the social media platforms, and they all conveniently start to have this issue at exactly the same time. It went from the social media platforms and then went to these other platforms. One moment here. So we've gone from social media, we've then gone to telecommunications, and now we've gone from telecommunications to food. So this is all happening at exactly the same time. So let me show you the food one that's been occurring. And if you're in the UK, you'll know what happened today. Greggs, which is known as the fastest growing and the largest fast food place in the UK, I think it's 2,400 restaurants. I'll check that in a moment. They all closed today because of an IT glitch. So this occurred this morning. Greggs was forced to shut its doors due to this IT outage. Now I'll tell you what's weird about this IT outage in a moment. The technical issue, which has since been resolved, meant that card payments were not being processed in stores across the country. Stores put up these close notices on their doors. Others were only available to accept cash. Well, there's your keyword right away, always have cash. And told customers that they need to order outside on the, okay, here we go, the mobile app. Now, this is a pattern as well. A lot of these stores are saying, oh, we've had this big outage, you need to order on the app. So it's either one of two things. It's very innocent and it's a real outage, even though they don't say, and you've got to listen to the language that they use as well. They don't blame a third party. They said due to, I got to get the wording right in here. They say, well, we'll come back to this, because they don't say blame a third party. They say due to an integration or due to involvement by a third party. And that makes me say, who is this third party and why are they all saying the same thing? Because if it was a cyber attack or it was something else, they would just say, oh, there was a cyber attack and, we've resolved it, everything's fine. But they're all saying there's a third party, and they're not using blaming, deflammatory language towards this third party. So is it the government? Is it someone like that who is asking them to do some sort of a test? Because remember, we've got the central bank digital currency coming out, even though they all say they're not going to launch it, the government say, or, oh, we're just looking into it. So is this something as simple as that? Is it a test right now for that? Is it something worse? I mean, either way you look at it, this is very bad. It's bad if it is innocent, because who is this third party that has that much control over global McDonald's? Not that we should be in there anyway, but McDonald's global outage across every McDonald's store at the same time. One payment system is responsible for all that. Madness. But anyway, we've got all of these things going on. We've had it so that people just abandoned their shopping throughout all the supermarkets right across the UK. This was Tesco, this was Sainsbury's. We've had it. See, all of these stores are happening at the same time. So why is it just a coincidence that it started with one sector, moved to another sector, and now it's moved to the food sector? All this week, in the same week, it's food. There's something really weird going on here. Really weird. So either that or they're just trying to get people to download the apps. Yeah, here we go. Greggs has got 2,450 shops. They haven't confirmed what caused it, only saying that this has affected their ability to take payments. Just look at all these. Look how many have had these outages, and they're all saying it wasn't a cybersecurity event. So what is it then? Surely they're not all using the same payment system. Sainsbury's and Tesco IT meltdown highlights catastrophic dangers of cashless society and our reliance on digital infrastructure. So what is this? I mean, this is the Daily Mail, so take this with a pinch of salt. All they're good at is posting images of half-naked women on their site. I mean, they're not the best, but let's just have a read of what they've said anyway. The IT meltdown suffered by them exposes this huge risk. So I do agree with this. Society is at risk from this digital payment system. Because as we've said before, what happens when the social credit score system comes in, and remember this exists in other countries like China, they actually have this in China, where if your social credit score is so low, you can't do certain things. You have to give donations to the government, you have to do community service to raise your social credit score. I mean, this is all real. These things exist right now. And let's just hope that these things don't come to our countries, but I think they probably will do. I mean, it's madness. It's just madness, all this stuff. So this is the risk that we've got, because if we do something wrong, well, look, and this as well, the ATMs as well ran out of cash at the same time. Look at all these queues, huge queues. People just abandoning their food at the checkout. Absolute chaos. Filling your shopping trolley, and then you get there and you can't even. It was Argos stores as well. These were closed, but remember that's I think Sainsbury's owns Argos, so that would make sense. And people just went crazy on social media. You can read a lot of the responses. But yeah, McDonald's as well blames a third-party provider. I mean, it's madness. This is madness. They all saying it wasn't caused by a cybersecurity incident. It's now been 5 hours since McDonald's started experiencing a global outage, forcing them to close stores. Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Europe, the UK. Surely they don't rely on one system for orders, right? Now, I'll tell you why this is really important in a second. Again, the same thing, this person's saying, now let's replace this, okay? Instead of saying the McDonald's outage is crazy, let's replace this with, let's pretend we're on this new system. And let's replace this with the government's payment system outage is crazy. Went in tonight and drive-through and all whatever, kiosks or whatever, were down. A system that can fail nationwide is bad, but across multiple countries too, bonkers. So you replace the word McDonald's with, UK government, US government payment system, which we'll all be on, and you can see the risk here. The only one, it said, that didn't have issues was Russia. Now, let me tell you again why I think that's really key. Russia was the only country that didn't have issues. Isn't that a little bit unusual, since they came off the SWIFT system? Okay, so we're connecting things together here. So Russia wasn't on the SWIFT system, but at the same, so could it be something to do with the SWIFT system? We've also got to bear in mind that McDonald's exited Russia in 2022, and there's a whole thing on that you can read into. But the locations still exist, a lot of the systems still exist, but the payment system changed slightly. So they're not on SWIFT, they're on whatever they use now. So there's definitely something really weird and suspicious and very strange going on with all of this. I can't quite connect all the dots on this, so drop a comment if you think I'm missing something here, but there's something weird happening with how it's going from these sectors, and they're key sectors: food, payment systems, telecommunications, social media. It's not as if it was, a clothing shop. Oh, clothing shop. Oh, a hardware store, somewhere where you buy a water bottle. It's not like it was stuff like this. These are really key sectors that were all hit, and they're doing them one at a time. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that is what I'm seeing with all of this. We've seen a lot more outages as well. We've just had Africa. There was 10 countries in Africa that all had an outage at the same time because the undersea cables failed. This is another interesting story about how they all failed at exactly the same time. We also had Truth Social went down just before the State of the Union address, when he was going to start talking and giving his commentary on it. This went down and they couldn't get it back on. Now, I want to talk about this as well. And this is from the WEF website. And remember, whenever you want to understand anything about cybersecurity or these things, just go here and you can go on to these, what do they call that? A scattergraph or something, this is called. And just go on to this. And I went on to cybersecurity and I went on to critical infrastructure. And then you can really dive down and this is how I prepare for things. So what are they warning about? Well, this would affect electricity supply. So you wouldn't have an electricity supply. International security, the digital transformation of business, digital communications, here it is, cities and urbanization, 15-minute cities, C40 cities, nuclear security, infrastructure, 5G, your digital identity, mobility, if you want to travel, etc. And then we come up here, Internet of Things. But what else do we have? Banking and capital markets. So when you start to connect all of these dots together, a lot of things start to make perfect sense. So just a short video today. I want you to drop a comment. Please, even if you don't usually leave a comment, what do you think is going on here? Am I reading too much into this, or is this something like preparation phases right now? Because we all know this is how IT works. You don't just launch something, you test it first, you have backup networks, you test things. Is this what we're seeing? Is it something else? Drop a comment below, let me know your thoughts. But regardless, it's very strange.